All right. Hey, team. Welcome to our Thursday night phone call. We do have a guest speaker. She's going to hop on in just a minute. Her little one was making her run around, and she said she looked like a hot mess, which is how us Beachbody coaches roll anyways. So she needs to go for it. I do not have the leaderboard. First off, I should probably say what day of the week it is in case people are wondering for the YouTube video. It is the 12th, so it's a Thursday. I don't have the leaderboard. I'm really sorry. A lot of you know I have an Etsy business on top of Beachbody, and tomorrow's our anniversary, like our 1-year anniversary. So it has been a madhouse in the office today, and I am just not on top of it. I apologize. I know there are a couple people of you that have hit Success Club. I know we do have 2 announcements, though, and they're both going to the same person. So first off, huge shout out to Darla. She rank advanced to Emerald today, so we can all give her a silent clap, a round of applause. So yay, Darla. I sound like I'm cheering on my kid. Yay, Darla. Like I sound like I'm talking to my dog. That's how I talk to Stilts. Go, Stilts. Don't mind me, guys. I'm like all hopped up on energy. Look at Katrina over here. Just doing her push-up. She is a beast. I need to take a screenshot of this. This is dedication. And then another huge shout out to Darla because she locked in Success Club 5 for her first month of coaching. So she gets a free call with Carl Deichler next month and is in her first month of Success Club starters. So Success starters. So she gets it 2 more months in a row. She gets to join us on Summit, and we all want to see her at Summit. So that's super exciting. So congrats, Darla. Super proud of you. And she's added 3 coaches in 7 days. Just saying. All right, we'll take the spotlight off of her right now. She's probably like, Ashley, shut up. Hey, Allie. Allie, did you get a haircut? Or is your hair just pulled back? Can Allie even hear me? It looks like she's going to the chat. Hey, Bree. I think I have you on mute. I apologize. I'm just doing my announcements real quick, and then I'll hand it right over to you, Bree. I think your hair looks really cute, Allie, if you did cut it, but I could be imagining it's probably just up in a ponytail, and I'm imagining things. So announcements real quick. We have a new group set or new training series. It starts on Monday. We have the phase 1, the phase 2, and the Emerald phase. Cara is hosting the first phase. I am hosting phase 2, and Emily Albrico is hosting phase 3. You have to have completed phase 1 in order to get into phase 2 or the Emerald. You can't just bump right up to Emerald and surpass all that. So check out the post. Cara has a post for her phase. Emily has a post for her phase, and then I'll have a post for my phase. I know there's a lot of commotion on the team page today. Forgive me. So that's what's going on. There will be, as of right now, there is no team call next week. I'm going to do my best to change it because I don't like going 2 weeks without team calls, and Thanksgiving's the week after. So obviously I love you guys and I know you love me, but we don't love each other enough to give up our Thanksgiving evening to hop on a Zoom call. I mean, if you want to hop on and we can like say what we're thankful for, we can do that, but I don't think anybody wants to do that on Thanksgiving. So I will try my best to do a team call next week. We just leave super early the next morning for DC. I'll keep you guys updated on that. I think that's all that's going on. I will post the leaderboard in the team page tomorrow. We still have lots of time in this month to push. Cara put a call to action in the team page that we are going to help and push 65 more people this month. That means 65 people are going to get a challenge pack and a program and Shakeology in their hands, and we are going to finish this month strong. I know November and December is super hard, but please, please trust me when I say now is the time you have to plant the seeds. Because I'm telling you guys, come January, you're going to be like, crap, Ashley was right. I didn't post for those 2 months and I got nothing. That was me 2 years ago. I had 1 Success Club point in January because I had nothing in November and December. So now is the time to take this on headstrong. So that's it. I'm not going to preach to you guys. I'm going to hand it over to Bree. Bree is a 2-star diamond coach, a Success Club 10 all-star. And I believe Bree lives in Iowa, but I'm going to let Bree do all of her introductions because I always botch everything. So Bree, take it away.
Hi. Yeah, I know. I guess Ashley and I just kind of met today. So
I don't know anything really about her. So I could like pretend and be like, we're besties, but I won't do that.
No, I was like, it's so funny because I was talking to you earlier about when I'm on calls that I get so nervous, and being on a call with like 300 people with Anita's call, I'm like, oh, I'm so nervous. And I feel more nervous for this call because I'm like, I don't even know her.
We're very laid back, so you're good. We got somebody working and doing push-ups. Like, that's the type of people we are. We're good.
Awesome. Most teams are like that. And so I feel, at home, it's one of those things you just have to like get over yourself. And I know that it's just like, Oh my gosh, everyone wants like words of wisdom. I do everything that everybody else does, but
I'm pretty sure as long as it's me not talking for once, they are totally cool with it.
great, cool. Well, I have a few notes, so I'm a rambler, so hopefully I can, help you guys get some nuggets going through the end of the year. But yeah, I live in Iowa, Cedar Rapids, so central Iowa. It's getting really cold here. I have a daughter. She will be 3 in January. I'm pregnant with our second. So if I seem really short-winded and like way out of shape, it's because I'm pregnant and I can't ever breathe right now. So I apologize for that. So I was just going to share quickly a little bit about my background because it kind of leads me into coaching and how I found it and why I coach. But I'm going to keep it brief and not go too much into detail because my story is pretty crazy, and it might seem like I'm reading a book. So basically, I grew up in Africa for part of my life. I was a missionary, homeschooled kid, so I didn't have a huge network growing up. So you can imagine when you started as a coach and you were probably like, oh, I only have 200 or 300 Facebook friends. Yeah, I didn't have a Facebook. I didn't have a cell phone until I was 17, and I moved out of my parents' house. I kind of got away from Christianity a little bit and kind of ran and did the whole preacher's daughter gone really awful thing. So I was a hard worker though, and I've always had that instilled in me from my parents. So all the things that I got caught up in, drugs, alcohol, I was in horrible relationships, but I always worked. I worked my butt off. I always paid my bills. I wasn't in debt because I don't know what it was, but I always worked. I had 3 jobs all the time. I did get into an industry that was, an adult entertainment industry. And that was game changing because I learned how to make money, but obviously it wasn't exactly the most uplifting, confident boosting job. And so it really took a hit on my confidence level. It took a ton out of me. So when I decided to leave that industry, I got 3 jobs. I bartended and started working in retail management. I worked at a Victoria's Secret. I worked my way up to management in a Victoria's Secret. And so I never went to college. I used my brains. I used how to speak and get what I wanted. I was really good at getting what I wanted, to be honest. But I was really unhappy. I was alone. I was on drugs, like I said, and I had no real home base. I had no friends. I had moved up to Cedar Rapids, about an hour and a half away from my where I lived. So I didn't talk to my parents. I moved here with a guy and had nobody besides him. And so it just destroyed me. I had nobody besides this guy telling me I was worthless, all this stuff. So I poured my heart into my work once again, and I still felt empty. I felt like I didn't fit. Retail can be really catty. A lot of jobs can, so I know that sounds like redundant, but retail can be hard. And Victoria's Secret, they expect a lot out of you. You're supposed to wear makeup, and you're supposed to look a certain way and talk a certain way. And I most definitely didn't fit that little blonde Barbie perfect person because I grew up not that way. So I quit Victoria's Secret and started bartending because I just found that it fit me better. I was making more money. I knew how to, work people for tips. And so I felt more comfortable in that atmosphere, and I did that full time. And then I got another retail job, a smaller retail job, managing a little store. And then I found out I was pregnant with my first, boyfriend up there. And I was terrified. I never wanted kids in my life. I never had a dream of getting married. And I was just utterly in shock. I didn't know what to do. But with the background that I came from, I was not willing to give up the baby. And so I made a decision that I needed to really, truly change myself before this child came into the world. And so I did kind of what every woman does. I kind of started following people on Instagram, like, oh, I'm just going to get inspired. I'm going to follow all these women that have it put together, and I'm just going to figure it out because they're going to inspire me. And I found my coach, Anita, and I followed her while I was pregnant, and I followed her for a year after that. I didn't take the plunge, but I just followed her, and I worked my butt off. And I knew so desperately that this child needed a person that I wasn't. But I didn't know how to get there. And so I followed and followed and followed. As many of you know, you probably talk to people every day that are like, not quite ready. I'm not quite ready. I'm not quite ready. And you just keep checking in. And she did just that. So anyway, that's a snippet of my life. I signed up as a coach when my daughter was 1 year old. I was really unhappy with my body. I was struggling with postpartum depression. And I decided, you know what? If this chick can do it, she had all the same things going on and she got out of that, I'm going to do it too. So I took the leap of faith after doing Advocare and wraps and diet pills and starvation diets and all this other junk. I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it. And so I told my boyfriend that I was buying this other thing and he thought I was crazy, but I did it anyway. And the first question I had for her after I bought my challenge pack was, okay, how do I make that money back? Because I think my boyfriend's going to kill me that I spent another $200. And she told me. So I started inviting people right out of the gate. I had no idea what Shakeology was. I had no idea what a challenge pack was, but I just started inviting. I blindly invited. And I think that was part of, why I became successful in Success Club, because I didn't get told a lot. I just got told to invite. I didn't know what it meant and I had to figure it out, but I just knew to talk to people. And so I got really good. I failed miserably at conversations, but I got really good at talking to people. And so in my first year, my whole year, I was emerald. I was like, I'm going to get diamond. I'm going to get diamond. And I just sat emerald. And what I learned was that doing the 3 vital behaviors is key, because if you just talk to people and you have no personal growth and you don't meet any new people, you can't grow your business. So that kind of brings me to what Ashley and I kind of wanted to talk about tonight, or what she wanted me to share was, how to grow your team and how to do the 3 vital behaviors consistently to make sure that your business is growing all the time, but also that you're growing all the time. Because if you expect your goals on your dream board or your why to expand, you have to expand yourself. You have to expand your mind. You have to expand your outlook, and you have to be doing that daily. So my first year, I probably read 1 book. To be honest, personal development, I was like, okay, I work full time. I have a little girl. I have this, I have that going for me. Like, I don't need those books. I don't have time. All I have time is to message people. So I would sit for hours and message people, and I recruited like a boss. Let me tell you, I Success Club 20, Success Club 30, but I was missing the point. I didn't get it. And so to tell you tonight that personal development is key in this, and I'm sure your coach tells you that. I'm sure she says 3 vital behaviors. But it really is key in growing yourself so that you can be a leader as you're growing your team. And then you learn to share that effectively on social media. Your personal development speaks through your posts. I was lacking that ability to be inspiring on social media. I was doing here's me and my shake, here's me and my workout, here's me and my kid, but I wasn't getting deeper. I wasn't finding any more meaning in coaching. So when I started my personal development and really digging into what are my weaknesses, where can I, find strength and build things, and I found out that my whole backstory had shown through more than me being a coach. So I had to start working on me becoming a leader, me really building that self-confidence, me believing in myself. So whatever it is that's on your why or your dream board, you need to write that out and define what that means. And are you at that place to be there? If you have 5-star on your board, or if you have diamond on your board, if you have emerald on your board, or making $500 a week, whatever it is, what makes you deserving of that? And do you believe you deserve that? And what are you going to do to hone in and make that happen? Are you going to sit and be the same, or are you going to go and find books, build your mind to the place that you can actually be the leader of that team, whatever that goal is? Can you be the person to actually lead and be that person where that goal is that you're wanting to achieve? So I hope that makes sense. But personal development is key. So if you take one thing away from this, like I said, I brushed it off for a really long time, and honing back in on it, it's created, my posts have just blown up. I get more response. You get more ideas for stuff. You have quotes. You have things that you're learning that you can share with people. My challenge groups are better. My team is thriving. Just because I have more confidence, because I believe in myself more, and my cup is filled first, so I can best help other people. And then let's see. I'm trying to stick to my little guideline here so I don't go off on tangents. I know I talked about personal development and sharing that. I think sharing your story can be really hard. I know letting a lot of secrets out and letting a lot of myself out was really terrifying because I was scared of being judged. So what I do is I do a dumping of my thoughts each week. And what I mean by that is I set my timer for 60 seconds, and I have a notebook for basically journaling. And I write at the top, I say what I love about coaching, because that always changes. I always have a different reason that week or moment or time or whatever day it is. I have different reasons. So I set my clock for 60 seconds and I write down as much as I can about why I love being a Beachbody coach. Either why I love signing up, what I love about my team, what it does for me. Anything that comes through your mind, don't judge it, just write it down. And then at the end of those 60 seconds, you're going to have a list of things that you can create stories out of. I'm going to give you an example. So the first time I did this, I wrote down, it makes me confident. I love who I am. I love the friends I've made. I'm trying to remember a few other things. But those things I then took and I wrote stories about. And by stories, I mean posts. So the friends that I've made in Beachbody, I was able to create a post of why I love Beachbody. And I wrote that down. I actually voice text myself emails because if you write it down, a lot of times you're going to judge yourself, right? You're going to write it down and then you're going to erase it and say, oh, that's not good enough. If you voice text it and send it to yourself, it's an email that can be edited and it's your true thoughts and feelings and it's there and you can grab it when you need it and it's a post. So you hone in, you make it a story and you share that. And by sharing my story more frequently like that, people start to see me and they start to see that what I have to offer is way bigger than Shakeology. It's way bigger than a 30-minute workout. And it's way bigger than just me trying to recruit people. It's me gaining all this confidence. And people start to see that. And so by sharing stories each and every week, each and every day, if you go to my page, you'll probably see, well, this last week I've actually been in the hospital sick, but most of the days there is a story post. And I follow a simple guideline each and every month. And then I break each of my months up into weeks. And I have a story marketing plan. And so each week I talk in my stories about that marketing campaign. So for example, week 1 is challenge groups. I brainstorm about why I love challenge groups, what they've done for me, what they've done for my challengers, and I create stories about that. And I post every single day a story about that. Those are my recruiting for challenge groups. And I do that for a week. And then I move on to week 2, and it's about coaching or maybe you have a free clean eating group. I don't know if you guys do free groups at the beginning of your month to get people interested, but it can be about, your stories about what it's done for you. And again, it can be about going to the grocery store and how you've created clean eating to fit into your budget. It can be the same story every month with a different picture. So I take all these stories that I create and all these stories that keep happening and I brainstorm more and I save them in a file. And then each month I can go back and I can look in my bank of stories and share them each and every week. So I basically have it planned out. Yes, I duplicate. If you're wondering, I copy and I take my stories and I copy them and do it each month. And you obviously will grow. You'll have new stories to add. But that's how I effectively grow my team. Because I always, with these stories, I always have somebody new interested. And I always add a small call to action at the end of my stories. It's never hey, I'm looking for 3 people that I would like to join my team. Are you interested? It's always a huge story about me and what I love about coaching. You can go look. I actually just made one tonight about my team and what I love about the girls on my team and that we all have different backgrounds. And then just at the end there's a snippet of, if you're interested in this opportunity, just shoot me a message or comment. I'd love to chat. And so it's a little twinge of, hey, you could do this too without being obnoxious, without being intrusive, without being an advertisement. It's me sharing my story and saying you could probably do this, and it plants a seed. And by doing that day in and day out, every single day, sharing a story and then putting that invite at the bottom, like I said, it's not obnoxious, but it's putting a hand out there saying, when you're ready, I'm here. And it's consistently putting that hand out every day so people know to come to me because they're seeing it day in and day out. So I hope, does that make sense? I don't know if you want to stop there for questions.
Trying to find my mute.
But that's how
I think my internet's going out. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, there you are.
There we go. My internet's being wonky tonight. We have like 50-mile-an-hour winds outside, so I'm like, it's like hurricane season in Ohio right now.
That was today too.
It's awful. No, I absolutely love that. Does anybody have any questions about that part? Because I know sometimes at the end it's like, crap, I had a question and I can't remember. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I know I went really fast. I feel like jumbled, but like try to explain it.
And my phone call people, shoot me a Facebook message or a text if you have a question, just because I get so much background noise if I unmute all of you.
Yeah, it gets kind of crazy.
All right. Go ahead, Bree. Take it over.
Okay. All right. So I'm talking about the stories. As most of you probably invite daily or weekly, I like turning a lot of posts to cover objections. So I'm sure you all get the dreaded like price objection. Like I know some of you in there, right? Especially right now, like, oh, I'm saving for Christmas presents, or, oh, I've got a lot of stuff coming up. Maybe when tax return comes, or no, that's just pretty pricey. And then you kind of like, okay, but you know, Shakeology, it's going to be replacing a meal, right? Like, hang on. No. Okay. Never mind. And crickets. So I like taking posts and I like covering those objections before I even have to chat about them. So the people that I'm messaging are already probably 90% ready to sign up because I already prep people through my posts. So what I mean by that is make a post and be silly about it. It can be funny. It can literally come from a conversation you've had. So if somebody has an objection, make it into a post so you don't have to go over that same objection over and over. So for example, if it's about pricing, I have made posts before about how I have afforded Shakeology. Working full time, I was pregnant, I was paying rent on a house, I was not with my boyfriend at the time. Let me tell you, I made that same objection. I don't have the money. And then my coach was like, well, you go to Starbucks, right, before you go to work? And I'm like, well, I mean, sometimes. And she's like, you smoke cigarettes, right? And I'm like, well, yeah. She's like, okay, well, you know, if you just cut down to like one cigarette a day instead of a pack and you stopped going to Starbucks and making coffee at home, you could pay for this in a month. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get, you're right, okay. You know, of course, I gave her the silent treatment. She could see I read her message and I didn't respond. But I've taken stuff like that and made posts about it. So when you think about going through the Starbucks drive-thru, what do you order? For me, it was a grande latte with 2 pumps of classic syrup. That's $5.65. I don't know. I'm pulling that price. I can't remember anymore. I get Americanos now. But I'm going to say it's $5.65. So when I go through the Starbucks drive-thru, or when I choose not to go through the Starbucks drive-thru, I make a post at noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock, when most people are taking their lunch break, their cigarette break, they're at work and they're going to go run through for their second cup of coffee, right? I make that post and it's directed right at them, but they don't know it. They just are going to read it and they're going to say, oh, yeah. And they might not go jump in and buy a challenge pack, but I'm covering that objection by making a post and saying, I am so glad I'm out for the holidays. You know, shopping, Starbucks, right? Cheaper, it's keeping me full. I don't have to get fast food, and I have energy. Boom, like hashtag boom. I don't know. That's off the top of my head, but I'm covering an objection, and I'm answering those people's questions of how I afford it. Because let me tell you, we have lots of bills. My child's schooling is more expensive than daycare, and we have tons of bills. So I don't have extra money to just be throwing around on protein shakes, right? I have made it a priority, and I have made Starbucks not a priority. I have made my health a priority, and I've made cigarettes no longer in my life. So I have chosen to be able to afford it. Did I think I could afford it when I was, a mom paying $1,500 a month for my house with a kid on the way and I didn't even have a crib yet? No, but I made it happen because I saw the value in it. So if you're presenting the value and you're already discrediting their objections before you go and invite them, they have nothing more to say. And the people that are coming to you interested are already going to know and have that seed planted of why they're going to afford this, right? So cover objections as you're posting. Make these stories relatable to people, and the same things that you had concerns about before you signed up as a coach or before you signed up as a challenger, make those into posts. The list could go on for examples as far as, can I coach with a full-time job? Well, I had a 1-year-old and I worked 60 hours and her dad worked, even more than that. So I was basically a single mom working a full-time job and had a 1-year-old that I was full-time mommy to. So, I didn't have gobs of time, but guess what I cut out? TV. I stayed up late. I got up early. I worked on my lunch break instead of going out with friends to Starbucks. So there's plenty of things that you can make posts about. You have to think about your life, the situations that you changed, and then make them into story posts. And then one of the tips I had is never let a day go by where you don't make a connection with someone with pure intentions of helping them. And what I mean by that is if you cold invite, that's amazing. But don't go into cold inviting without sincerely sending a message of love, sincerely sending a message of care, and sincerely being ready for that person to say no and wanting to still help them if they have goals. So do not go into inviting, do not go into Messenger with a head of or intention of selling a challenge pack or getting 2 points. You have to go into it knowing that a person is going to respond one of 3 ways. They're going to not respond at all, they're going to say no, or they're going to say yes or have goals not be able to pay for it yet, right? They're going to be really interested or might not be able to splurge right this second, but they're really interested, and so you need to have a solution for them always. I run a free clean eating group that lasts, it's an eternity group. There's 1,000 members in it now. I post in it maybe once a week. I've gotten really lax in it. But when I first started, I ran all my free clean eating groups in the same group. I added a meal plan weekly. I add recipes. There's files. Anybody that's been interested in a challenge pack ever, I have a place for them to go. And then if somebody isn't quite ready to purchase a challenge pack, I say, great. I know you still really want to work on those goals through the holiday. Let's add you into my free group because I really want to support you in those goals. It shows that you care. It shows that you're there. It shows that your agenda is not to sell them something. And 1 out of 3 people come back within the next 2 months. It's happened time and time again. So if your main agenda is to help them, they will come back and be a challenger. They may not be ready. And if they're not ready, you don't want them in a challenge group because they'll probably be crickets or return their challenge pack anyway. So yeah, you want them ready just as much as they want to be ready. So go into it with a clear head and knowing that no doesn't mean no, it means not right now, and that you can still help support them in their goals until they're ready. And then the last thing I had was take the thing that you most hate doing every day and do it first while your coffee is brewing. So I don't know if you guys have jobs, kids, school, whatever is going on. I wake up in the morning. My boyfriend, I'm lucky enough, gets up with my daughter to get her breakfast and dressed. That has just started happening with me being pregnant. I use that excuse a lot these days. But I get up, I pop on, jump onto my phone, and I send 3 invites. I create 3 conversations. I jump on my friends list. I select 3 random people. I don't have any crazy spreadsheets or Excel documents. I have girls on my team that love numbers, and they alphabetize their friends list. I have no secret sauce. I literally open it up. I look to see who's on. I open up their name and say, hey girl, how's it going? I saw on your Facebook you posted about getting a dog or whatever it is, and I create a conversation. because I really dreaded invites. I invited 20 to 30 people a day for my first year of coaching, and I was burnt out. So that is something that I needed to get back to. And so just do it in the morning. If it's adding to your network that you really hate sending friend requests because you're scared they're going to say no or weird out or block you or whatever, add 3 people right in the morning. If it's personal development that you seem to not get in, download Audibles and press play right when you wake up on a book. If it's your workout, make sure you do it in the morning and don't wait till the end of the night because you probably won't press play. If it's Shakeology, whatever it is, do it first, because then you can go about your day and you can breathe and go, I already invited. The rest is a piece of cake, right? If it's posting, plan your posts out. I have those story posts. Start banking those posts so that it's not so scary. Start, sharing your story with your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend. Start talking about it to your team more. So then when you start sharing it, it's not so scary. That's all I have. I'm kind of all over the board, but.
Bree, do you have any tips? So most of the team, minus me and another coach, we do this full time. Most everybody else has a full-time job, or they're at home with their kids all day, which is a full-time job. And I know you built your business while having a daughter and working. What are some tips that you would give them? Like, I have coaches that want to do this full-time. What are some tips that you can give them, like some organization or some scheduling? Like, for me, it's a little bit different because I have been doing this full-time, so I don't have as many advice, but I know that you were in a completely different situation. I don't know. Do you have any tips you could give them?
Yeah, well, I kind of had chatted with you earlier. My schedule is pretty much the same. I can say that I put in more hours, but I really don't. When I worked full time, I feel like I told my boyfriend I actually worked. I feel like harder as a coach than I do now being home. I'm mentally and physically drained from being home with my child all day. I don't know how nannies do it. I was like, oh, stay at home mom. I'll just coach and she'll play. No, but I really actually have the same business hours. I do a lot in the morning, and then I do pretty much nothing during the day because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to messaging at night. I know what takes me the most time, and I know what's going to get my business the furthest, and that's messaging. That's inviting and talking to people day in, day out till you're blue in the face. Over and over, new people. So that's where I spend the majority of my time. So depending on your job, depending on how much time you have to work this business, I always say give 80% to your business and the rest to your team. So I don't know how big your team is, but give that percent to messages, to reaching out to people. Because the more people you reach in a short amount of time, you're banking people into your network, you're banking people into your business. So when I worked full time, I would get up in the morning. I always pre-planned my posts. I didn't use Buffer. I didn't use a Hootsuite. I didn't use a scheduler, but I did have my posts written out for the day the night before. So I knew what I was going to have for lunch. I knew, I was going to make a Shakeology post. I knew I was going to make, on Thursdays, a paycheck post, whatever it was. I would write on Saturdays or Sundays. I would write out my posts for the week, at least a rough outline. This saved me tons of time because I didn't have to sit there spending 30 minutes going, what do I post? I have to post something. I have to share on social media. Like, I would always freak out about it. And I did not share pretty pictures at first when I was at my job. I had dirty lunchroom break table pictures of an avocado, stupid stuff. I don't know. But I always made sure to post. That was a priority because Facebook sucks and makes people not see your stuff, right? So that has to be a priority because if people aren't seeing your stuff on a regular basis, they're going to forget about you, or another coach is going to find them. Let me tell you, that's happened to me over and over and over. And I'm like, I've talked to that girl. What? She's a coach now? What? You have to remind them day in, day out, hey, remember me? I'm a Beachbody coach. Remember me? It's not obnoxious to people, let me tell you, because they don't see all your posts. They might see 1 out of 5. They might see 1 out of 7. They might see 1 out of 10. Depending on your affinity and how many friends you have in your list and how many people have clicked follow, you might have 10 people see your post, So make sure you schedule those out. And by schedule out, write a list out, a rough draft of what you're going to post for that week. the night before, hone in and say, okay, I can kind of scribble this post out because I know at 11 o'clock I have a business meeting and I'm going to want to post at noon right when I get out of that meeting. So I know I'm going to post about my lunch. When I get home, the kids are going to be scrambling all over and I'm going to have to make dinner. Do you meal plan? Do you know what you're making for dinner? Do you know you can ask an engaging question in the afternoon? So posting was huge to plan it out, schedule it out, and just have that. So it was load. I didn't have to think about it because it was written down in my notebook. I'm like, okay, yeah, I was going to ask this question. And I used my interests. I love fashion. I love makeup as things that I could do to prep posts. So on the weekends, I would do like makeup tutorials and like talk about my nails or outfit of the day. Like I made little things. I would literally make workout videos on Saturday. I would change, like I'd grab all my workout clothes. I would go to my basement and I would like pop in every T25 DVD and do 3 little moves from it and then change my clothes and then pop in a different DVD and do different moves. And then I would have a workout of the day or move of the day for the whole week. That's not cheating as long as you're actually working out. That's not cheating. That's thinking smarter, not harder. So I would do that. If you go back, you can scroll. My friends were like, I know your hair, what? It's like the same. But I would literally do a whole DVD and I would or a 30-minute workout and I would take a move of the day and I would cut it up, spice it up, just do one move and put it to whatever music you like. Plan it out, have it prepped. That's what I did so that I could spend my time at night messaging people.
Did you guys hear what she said? Consistency. I know you guys know I say that word all the time and you're probably like, Ashley, like quit saying that word, but other people say it. It's not just me. Like other people say it. It's a common theme around here. No, and I love that. And I talk about that too, like planning. Like for some of us, it's easy. Like I'm home all day, so I can easily just pop in a post whenever I want. But for some people, they work. Like I remember the days that I worked and I couldn't just post whenever I wanted. Like I could try to sneak my phone behind the cash register and hopefully a customer wasn't walking through the door, but
Right.
Chances are they were. Whereas and so I tell them that sometimes, like put your post in your notepad. At the end of the night, if you can't fall back to sleep right away, just plan out your post for tomorrow. Copy and paste them from your notepad. Like planning is huge when it comes to this, especially if you're working full time and you don't have all the time in the world to dedicate towards it.
And my whole team uses Evernote and they all do that story format. So as we're sending stories, like if I'm on break and I'm like, oh my gosh, like rough day, or I have to share this. Like, thank God for coaching for that extra $400. I'm like, little story. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. But then when I go back to have work time on the weekends, I can transform that into a story to share over and over and over.
I love that.
Grocery store are great. So use that, utilize that. Like I said, people don't always see your post. And if it's a different picture and people, different people are seeing it, different people are reading it. If you're adding to your network like you should be each day, who cares if you post that same post in 30 days? You should have 3 new friends added a day, right? So you have, a whole network of people to see that post again. So I would say use them over, recycle posts. I do that a lot. I think somebody asked if I have a like page. Yes, I do. I started it about 4 months in. I had no likes, no views on it till probably about 6 months ago. When I started, I put 10% of my income into advertising and marketing and my Shakeology. It's kind of my 10% goes back into my business always. So yes, I do have a like page and I recycle stories there too. I try to post more of my interests, more of my fitness on my like page. However, I do duplicate posts once I hit 4,000 likes. I had a big enough network of different people than just, it's my friends list seeing the same posts. So I do duplicate a little bit, but I try to keep some things different.
There was a couple other questions in the chat box, Bree, for you. I don't know if are you able to pull it up?
Yes.
Okay.
So your stories are like why I love challenge groups or why I love coaching every day, and you just vary your whys each day. Yeah. So the stories are about my life and what Beachbody has done to impact it in a positive way. So it's not necessarily, I love challenge groups because like a, first grade paper, but more a story about, what coaching has done for me. And then at the end, I share if you need support from a challenge group. So it's kind of that marketing call to action at the end that I would change. But the stories are definitely, you know, cleaning. They're about my team, or they're focused and share before afters. I share success stories from my team and from challengers. I share my own successes and struggles, and those are stories for 1 week. For, you know, specifically called actions, when I'm at a new challenge group, I hone in on challenge posts. So if that makes sense, talking about success, talking about my challenge groups, talking about how awesome they are, talking about my girls on my team and their workouts and, you know, the successes that they're having, sharing before afters for my team, stuff like that. And then sharing a story that's really personally related to me. Being vulnerable is really scary, but it also has really blown up my team. So just know, the more vulnerable you are, I thought it was really stupid. People are going to be like, oh, pity you. Oh, and I'm not looking for pity. And so I kept closed. And then I realized that there are so many people out there that needed to hear that story. And you know what? If I have to take the hit and somebody say, eat a cheeseburger or whatever it is, you know, fine. Like, you know, I just had to share and be genuinely me and share what it meant to me through story form. I don't know if that completely answers the question. But yeah, I do kind of try to stick to a theme of, if I'm recruiting to challenge groups, if I'm recruiting coaches, if I'm looking for people for a clean eating group, that kind of thing. I keep a theme going for the week, and then I switch it up to the next week. And because our team has a month calendar, everybody knows kind of when the sneak peek is coming, that probably the week before, you want to share what coaching has done and, you know, invite to the opportunity. And, you know, when they have a challenge group coming up in a week or two, the week before, you need to be sharing about challenge groups and what, you know, a Beachbody challenge has done for you and what Shakeology is doing for you in story form, not just being informative, but personally. And then I think, let's see, do you find that when you put people in that they actually participate? I have run free groups in the past, and they usually end with crickets. It really depends on the group. I mean, challenge groups can fall flat on their face. Clean eating groups can fall flat on their face. It depends on who you have in the group, and the format you're using. I've mixed a lot of stuff up. I tried a lot of different things, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. I tend to run 3-day sneak peek groups for coaching because it holds their attention. For clean eating groups, I like running them for 5 days, but I don't necessarily do a meal plan every time. Now that I have an affinity group for clean eating, I like doing different things where it's like, I just ended a Halloween detox group, and every day I've just shared a tip. It's not like, hey, everybody participate and buy the meals and like, let's prep, but just little things. Like, people, you would be surprised the tips that people need to know to even just drink more water, to, is coffee good or bad for me? How do I cut out sugar from, you know, a little portion of my day? These things really, really impact people and start them on their journeys to become future challengers. And so I like mixing it up. I've done complete fitness groups in my clean eating page. We did Fittober, and I posted a workout. I found spooky Halloween. I searched on Pinterest Halloween workouts, and there was like all these stupid, you know, like spider squats, or I don't remember, but we did a workout each day. I didn't have people, you know, I didn't have a million people participating, but I did have 1 or 2 people comment each day, say done. And those are the people that you're growing and filtering in. And so if you run a separate group for each of these things, you may have crickets some days. I have joined a lot of mom groups and a lot of cloth diapering groups because that's what I'm into. But if you join running groups, dog groups, whatever you're interested in, join groups, and you can advertise free groups easier than you can about a paid challenge group, or your company. You can't advertise your company, but you can advertise, hey, you know, I can advertise like, hey, I've got this kids clean eating week. Like, let's help our kids eat healthy this next coming week. Anybody interested? Add me as a friend. It's a great way to add to your network. It's a great way to meet new people, to start conversations. And it can be simple. It doesn't need to be, no one's prepping their food, no one's posting their pictures of their, you know, so you can do something simple. And a lot of times simple gets more participation for me. I think that's it.
Anybody have any other questions for Bree? Sometimes we're like a really super quiet team and it's like pulling teeth to get questions.
It's okay. My team's the same way.
I always say that they have to drink Energize before they get on the call, but I don't think anybody ever does it.
Annie, oh my goodness, you got
It's
that was me. Before getting pregnant, I would be on my team calls Friday night drinking Annie, and they're like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "I'm gonna be up till 2 inviting." Like, what are you talking about? That's me.
Thank you so much, Bree. I don't want to keep you any later because I know it's late and nobody has any questions. And I'm sure if you guys think of any questions, I can send them over to Bree and Bree will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for taking time out of your night to do a call for me. I know they loved it. I highly appreciate it.
I hope it helps.
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye, guys.
All right, guys, I'll stay on for just a couple more minutes to answer any questions. I'm going to go ahead and take it off recording.